Okay, so magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to another episode of Discussion. So today we'll discuss the first sect in Buddhism, which is the Theravada Buddhism. But before we proceed, we will first discuss the general concept of Buddhism, its founder, the sacred text that they are using, and then many more. And then after that, we will go in the first type or sect of Buddhism, which is the Theravada Buddhism. So, ginawa ko po itong video para sa isang nag-request na manonood natin or estudyante ko din. Ayan, para naman may reference din daw siya at ma-compare ang Theravada and Mahayana. Okay, so anyway, let's start our discussion. So for the topic outline, we will discuss the Theravada Buddhism, the doctrines, and then the sect. Okay, so Theravada Buddhism itself is considered a sect or denomination of Buddhism. And of course, we will also consider the issues, okay, in Theravada Buddhism. Okay, so I hope that you are familiar about Buddhism. So madami naman tayong naririnig ng mga Buddhist, okay, practitioners, believers. And Buddhism is considered as one of the major religion around the world. And in our previous discussion, na-discuss natin doon, around 500 million yung kanilang followers and more. Okay, ayan. So before we proceed in our main highlight, meron lang akong idinagdag kasi ito ay kasama sa aming mga output or pinapagawa kong output sa kanila. So, I add some information, especially the 8 auspicious symbols in Buddhism. So, kung makikita ninyo dyan, meron tayong 8 auspicious symbols na kadalasan makikita natin and hindi natin maiisip agad, ay ito pala ay associated in Buddhism. Okay, so the first symbol, as you can see doon sa atin, kung makikita naman natin dyan, ito yon. Okay, we have the conch shell, okay, or the shanka. So it represents the sound of the Dharma, which is said to awaken beings from ignorance and lead them towards enlightenment. Okay, it also symbolizes the communication of Buddhist teachings, spreading the message of compassion and wisdom. And kung makikita naman natin, 'di ba? Kung nakakita na kayo ng malaking shell at if nilagay natin 'yon sa tenga, may naririnig tayong sound. Okay, yung ibang sinasabi yun yung daw sound ng wave ng dagat. Okay, which is true naman, nasubukan ko na. Parang may umuugong dun sa loob na kahit malayo ka sa dagat, meron. And itong conch shell na to, sabi dyan, it represents the sound of the Dharma. Sound. Para siyang sound na magpapagising sa'yo. Okay? For you to be free from ignorance and lead them towards enlightenment. Okay, ano ba yung tinatawag nating enlightenment? Titingnan natin yan later kung ano bang yung tinatawag na enlightenment in Buddhism. Okay, so next we have, ayan, the endless knot. Okay, so the endless knot symbolizes the interconnectedness of all phenomena, representing the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, or also known as the samsara. If we're going to trace back our discussion in Hinduism, na-touch din natin doon yung konsepto ng samsara, wherein it only explain the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Okay, which is reincarnation in short, di ba? Also, it signifies the intertwining of wisdom and compassion and the unity of all beings. Kaya nga sa Buddhism, malaki yung pagpapahalaga nila sa lahat ng uri ng may buhay. It's because of the reincarnation. It's possible that some of the living organism is a reincarnation of the past individual. Okay. So malay mo yung nakikita mo ngayon is yun pala yung reincarnation ng mga grandfather or blood related mo nung past life mo. Interconnectedness. It's because of this concept. Okay, so possible kaya tayo makalaya in samsara in the concept of Buddhism? Yes, it's possible. If you reach the enlightenment or if you are enlightened already, yun, pwede ka nang or nakalaya ka na sa samsara. In the concept of Hinduism, Para makalaya tayo sa samsara, you have to attain the highest state of a Hindu can have, which is the nirvana. And in nirvana, doon nangyayari yung tinatawag na moksha or the process of freeing of soul. Pag free na yung soul mo, possible makapiling mo na yung mga Brahman in Hinduism. But here in Buddhism, enlightenment na yung pinakamataas nating peak. Okay, next, the victory banner. Okay, so nakikita naman natin sa picture na yan, it represents the victory of Buddhism over ignorance and suffering. It symbolizes the triumph of enlightenment over the forces of darkness, greed, hatred, and delusion. Okay, so a victory banner. Kung ikaw ay enlightened na, nakalaya ka na sa ignorance and suffering, ayan, we have the victory banner. Okay, next, the lotus flower. Okay, it symbolizes purity, enlightenment, and spiritual growth. Actually, itong lotus flower po natin is kino-compare din ng mga Buddhist sa tao. Why? Tingnan natin. It signifies the journey of awakening. Okay, as the lotus rises from the muddy waters to bloom in the sunlight, representing the journey from ignorance and enlightenment. So, kung makikita naman natin yung pinaka natural environment of the lotus flowers. Sa ilalim, medyo maputik sa pandyan, di ba? Nakikita sa mga medyo watery. Okay. And then, tumutubod sila galing sa muddy. Okay, dun sa ilalim. Pag sinabi nating mud, madumi. But despite the fact na yung environment niya ay ganon, paglabas niya sa tubig, okay, and then nakita niyo yung sunlight, napakaganda niyang bulaklak na nai-compare sa mga tao. Na kahit gaano ka dilim yung ating mga kinakaharap na pagsubok ngayon, there will come a time na tayo magsashine, magiging isa tayo sa pinakamagandang version ng ating mga sarili na katulad ng lotus flower. Kaya huwag kayong panghinaan kung may mga problems din tayo ngayong nami-meet, you have to think positive. Okay, you have to take it as a motivation. Okay, ano? So, wag tayong maging pessimist or mga pessimistic, mga negative yung naiisip palagi. Ano? Just think positive. Ayan. And for number 5, we have the golden fishes or the matcha. It symbolizes happiness, fertility, and abundance. It also represents the freedom and fearlessness to swim through the ocean of suffering without fear, just as fish swim freely in water. Yan, i-compare din ang golden fishes sa mga tao. Bakit? Okay. Ang pinaka-ocean, sabi nila, it represent the freedom and fearlessness to swim through the ocean of suffering. Yung ocean of suffering ng mga tao, yung mundo natin mismo. Okay, na ginagalawan. But despite the fact, yung golden fishes, okay, lumalangoy pa din daw siya without fear. Okay, so yung mga fishes na yan, lumalangoy sa dagat, possible makakita sila ng mga predators. Possible na sila makain ng ibang mga marine organism. Katulad din ng tao, naglalakbay tayo dito sa mundo na hindi tayo sigurado. Ang daming uncertainties, di ba? But despite na hindi tayo sigurado, unsure, patuloy pa din tayo sa, okay, paglaban. Patuloy pa din tayong nabubuhay kasi yun yung need. Okay, kasi kung susuko ka, pangunahan ka ng takot, walang mangyayari sa'yo. Ano? Okay, and then for number 6, the wheel of Dharma. Okay, it represents the teachings of the Buddha and the Noble Eightfold Path. It symbolizes the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, as well as the turning of the wheel of truth and the spreading of the Buddha's teaching. Actually, nabanggit, no? Na-mention din sa Hinduism yung word na Dharma. But in Hinduism, a Dharma is considered as the righteous action, the righteous way, okay, of the righteous way and responsibilities, human duties and responsibilities. Kumbaga, parang yun lang yung tamang gawin in Hinduism, but it's not totally the main concept. But here, in Buddhism, the Dharma or the wheel of Dharma signifies or holds the most important, okay, the most important instruction, kumbaga, which is the eightfold path. Okay. So yun yung pinaka-guide ng mga Buddhist para ma-reach nila ang enlightenment. So makikita natin diyan sa wheel, ilan yung parang point niya? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the eightfold path. May meaning. Okay, may symbolism which is madidiscuss natin later kung ano ba yung eightfold path na yan. Ano? So ako yung nagdi-discuss pa lang, paalala ko ha, disclaimer, nagdi-discuss muna ako ng general concept. Kumbaga, itong dinidiscuss ko muna, makikita natin ito in both Mahayana and Theravada. Babanggitin ko lang or magsasabi lang ako later ng, ay ito na for Theravada. Okay, para hindi tayo maligaw. Ito'y para sa dalawa. Okay. Next, the treasure vase. It symbolizes spiritual wealth and abundance. It represents the endless treasures of the Buddha's teachings as well as the wealth of virtues such as generosity, compassion, and wisdom. So dito po sa ating treasure vase, it do not totally represent the treasure itself, the material things. Ano, nabanggit naman niya na yung treasure vase, it represents the spiritual wealth. Okay, hindi yung mga material things. And how can you attain the spiritual growth? Okay, paano ka madedevelop? Okay, so nasabi naman dyan, you just have to follow and read the Buddha's teaching. Okay, and syempre, dapat naiintindihan mo yun and ina-apply mo sa iyong buhay. Okay, next. Number 8, it is the parasol. Okay, or parang umbrella nga sa sabi ng mga na ano ko na section na discuss ko na to. Sabi na parang payong ano, but it symbolizes protection and spiritual power. And it represents the protection offered by the Buddha's teachings, shielding practitioners from the heat of suffering and the storms of defilements. Okay, so ito yung ating parang shield nila. Okay, especially ng mga believers ng ng Buddhism. Yung mga Buddhist natin, yun yung parang shield nila against evil. Okay, or from the suffering itself. Ayan. So, okay na tayo doon sa 8 auspicious sign. Ano, pag sinabi kasi nating auspicious, hindi ko na na-explain kanina, it is commonly denoted to the word lucky. Good or good omen. Good luck. Mga ganyan. Ayan. So, who is the founder of Buddhism? Siyempre, we have no other than we have Siddhartha Gautama, or also known as Sakyamuni Buddha. In both Theravada and Mahayana, they believe, of course, in Buddha, and they believe that Buddha is the founder of Buddhism. Okay, nandiyan na po the founder of Buddhism, coined as the awakened one. Okay, the enlightened one. Ano kaya pag sinasabi nating enlightenment in the concept of Buddhism? Para hindi tayo malito. I-define na natin ngayon. So when we say enlightenment in Buddhism, it refers to the state of profound understanding and spiritual awakening that leads to liberation from suffering and the cycle of rebirth, or also known as the samsara na banggit natin. It is the ultimate goal in Buddhist practice. Okay, so kasama sa enlightenment yung realization of the four noble truths, okay, following the eightfold path, okay, and when someone achieve enlightenment, they transcend the limitation of ego and ignorance and experience an unshakable inner peace, profound compassion, and unconditional love for all beings. Okay, they are said to have eradicated defilements such as greed, hatred, and delusion, and have attained nirvana, which is the state of perfect bliss and liberation. Okay? So, dito pala, dun sa aking sinambit na mga statement, pag na-reach mo na yung enlightenment, naka-reach mo na din yung pinaka-point of inner peace. Okay? Inner peace and yung tinatawag nating nirvana. Okay, 'di ba nabanggit din sa Hinduism yung word na nirvana? Ang nirvana, it is the highest state of a Hindu can attain. Pag nakalaya sila sa samsara. But here in Buddhism, yung ating nirvana can be associated to the word peace of mind, inner peace. Okay, which is a state of perfect bliss and liberation. Wala ka nang nararamdaman diyang mga galit, delusion, hatred, wala kang desire diyan. Kumbaga, you are fully contented on what you have. Okay, hindi ka na naghangad ng iba, hindi mo ina-attach yung iyong sarili sa mga ibang bagay, lalo't higit sa mga material things. Okay, so he was born in India, which is dominated by Brahmanic religions during that time. When we say Brahmanic, Hinduism, so kahit magkaganon, do meron siyang katunggali doon sa India na religion. It is there where he proposed a radical point of view that will end the cycle, which is Buddhism. Itinatag niya though Brahmanic yung umiiral na religion sa India during the time, hindi yun nagpapigil or hindi yun pumigil sa kanya para i-push niya yung kanyang pinaka-adhikain. Next, Siddhartha Gautama was born around 563 BCE. So ito pong date na to, pwede po siyang mag-vary depending on the references that you browse. Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha, was born in the Lumbini Garden near Kapilavastu or Kapilavatsu in other references. So itong Kapilavastu or Kapilavatsu is a kingdom in India. Okay, so pinamumunuan itong Kingdom of Kapilavatsu ni King Suddhodana and Queen Mahamaya or Queen Maya, which is the parents of Siddhartha Gautama. So it means, makukonclude natin si Siddhartha isa siyang prinsipe. Okay, prinsipe. And then, okay, at his birth, a wise man predicted that he would become either a great king or a great spiritual leader. So, nung pinanganak si Buddha, may pumuntang isang sage or metanyo sa kaharian ng Kapilavatsu. Okay, and then nag-stage siya ng isang prophecy or a prophecy about kay Buddha. Sabi niya, si Buddha daw ay dalawa yung possible na future. Pwedeng maging great king or a great spiritual leader. Okay, next. At dahil nga dun sa naging prophecy ni Asita, yung hari at yung reyna, syempre, na-bothered, kasi gusto nila yung kailang anak maging great king. Ayaw nila na maging great spiritual leader si Buddha kasi siya yung anak nila, tagapagmana. So, ang ginawa ng kanyang ama at ina, itinago nila si Buddha or si Siddhartha sa loob lamang ng palasyo for 29 years. Hindi nila pinapalabas ng palasyo si Siddhartha. Okay. Hindi na pinapalabas para hindi niya makita yung reality of life outside the palace. Okay. So, diyan sa loob daw, may na mga na-search ako, sabi, bawal daw makita si Buddha ng matanda, mga nabubulok na mga prutas, pagkain, or kung anumang hindi maganda, bawal ang nagkakasakit. Ayan. So, kumbaga yung nakita, nakamulatan ni Buddha is puro maganda lang. So, ang thinking, life is good, life is just happiness, parang ganun lang. But in reality, okay, outside the palace, nandun yung reality. Okay, so kinulong nila, or hindi naman totally kinulong, hindi lang nila pinalabas si Buddha sa loob ng palasyo to see or to know the reality. Okay, and of course, nag-asawa din naman si Buddha. Ang pangalan ay si Yasodhara. Actually, Yasodhara, also spelled Yasodhara, was the wife of Siddhartha Gautama, who later became known as the Buddha. She was the daughter of King Sapabuddha and Queen Pamita. And she belonged to Shakya clan, the same clan as Siddhartha Gautama. Okay, so yan po si Yasodhara. Maganda daw siya na princess na napangasawa ni Buddha. And then, nag-anak din naman sila. Okay, si Rahula. Okay, yan po yung naging anak nila ni Yasodhara at Siddhartha, si Rahula. Okay. And then, at the age of 29, na-curious na si Buddha. Nag-start na yung kanyang curiosity. Okay, sabi niya, he wants to know. Okay, what are the things that can be found outside the palace? Ano ba yung meron sa loob or sa labas ng palasyo? Naging curious na siya. At paglabas niya, meron siyang mga nakita. Ayan po. Okay. So, the first one denotes an old man. Second one, may sakit or may ano yan, may sakit or may illness. And then, a corpse or patay. And then, isang monghe, ano. So, yan po. At the age of 29, Siddhartha ventured outside the palace and encountered the four sights. An old man, a sick person, a corpse, and a wandering ascetic. Okay. Okay. So, these encounters deeply affected Siddhartha. Yun yung nakita niya. Yun yung reality. Nakita niya yung iba't ibang suffering na nasa labas ng palasyo. Aging is an example of suffering. Diseases is an example of suffering. So yun lamang yung mga basic na sample ng suffering na nakita niya. At yun ay masyado siyang okay na move yung kanyang damdamin. Kumbaga malaki yung naging epekto sa kanya. Making him realize the universality of suffering. Na-realize niya yung totoong realidad na may suffering and prompting him to seek answers to the question of existence. Okay, nandun na siya naghanap ng mga kasagutan about the existence of suffering and the nature of reality. So, ang ginawa ni Buddha, okay, umalis siya. Moved by compassion and the desire to find a solution to human suffering, nalaman niya yung suffering. Sabi niya, paano i-end yung suffering? Okay, so si Siddhartha renounced his princely life. Kumbaga, tinalikdan niya, iniwan niya yung kanyang pagiging isang maharlika. Leaving behind his wealth, iniwan niya yung lahat ng kayamanan niya, status, being a prince, and family, yung kanyang wife and son, including his wife Yasodhara and their son Rahula. Imagine, give up niya yung kanyang monastic life. Ano lang, lahat-lahat. Okay, give up niya yung pinaka hindi sa reality. Pag ako yung tatanungin, hindi ko kayang i-give up ang family ko. Ano, kayo ba? Kaya nyo? Pero si Buddha, tingnan niyo, nagawa niya para lamang hanapin lang daw yung solution about suffering. Okay. And for 6 years, okay, 6 years, pag-alagalang si Buddha sa India, naghahanap ng mga kasagutan. And then, syempre, okay, papagod din po tayo, tao lang din si Buddha. At the age of 35, while meditating under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, Siddhartha attained enlightenment and became the Buddha, which means the awakened one. Okay. So at the age of 35, na-reach na niya yung enlightenment. And dito, nagawa na niya yung mga Four Noble Truths and then the Eightfold Path. Actually, anong nag-meditate daw si Buddha sa Bodhi tree, 49 days pa yung binilang before siya or before niya ma-reach yung enlightenment. 49 days siya na nag-meditate diyan sa Bodhi tree. Hindi ko na nasulat yung 49 days. Just, ano na lang, pa-jot down notes na lang. Ano, during his enlightenment, he gained insight into the nature of suffering. Okay, nung nag-enlighten na siya, natlaman niya yung tunay or nature of suffering, which is na-compiled niya doon sa Four Noble Truths, its causes, and the path to its cessation or end of suffering, which he articulated in the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay. Ayan. So after his enlightenment, the Buddha spent the rest of his life teaching the Dharma, okay, the path to liberation from suffering, to a diverse range of disciples. Okay. The Buddha's teachings attracted a wide following, including monks, nuns, lay people, kings, and people from all walks of life. Okay, so to continue, at the age of 80, the Buddha passed into parinirvana, the final passing away in the town of Kushinagar, the modern day Uttar Pradesh, India. Before his passing, he entrusted the continuation of his teachings to his disciples, urging them to be lamps unto themselves and to strive diligently for their own liberation. Okay, so ito yung original. Okay, kumbaga, si Theravada align talaga dun sa teachings ni Buddha, wherein you can attain enlightenment or liberation, okay, how to end the suffering with your own. Kumbaga, tayo lang sa ating sarili yung makakagawa, makaka-realize, Okay, walang ibang tutulong sa atin, which is totally different in Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, di ba nakatandaan naman natin si Buddha nag-meditate under the Bodhi tree, siya lang. Okay. So sabi niya dito sa last sentence, urging them to be lamps unto themselves and to strive diligently for their own liberation. Okay, yun ang pinakaano sa Theravada. Ikaw lang talaga. Ano? And then, may nabanggit yung parinirvana. Okay, yun yung final state ha. Final state na pwede mong ma-reach if ikaw ay Buddhist. Pag na-reach mo na yung enlightenment, it doesn't mean na namatay ka, na-reach mo na yung parinirvana. Hindi po. Ano? So, let's discuss the sacred text. Ito yun din ay ginagamit both ng Theravada and Mahayana, known as the Pali Canon, Tripitaka, Tipitaka, or the Three Basket. Ano ang daming tawag? Wag malilito. Similar lang po yung Pali Canon, Tripitaka, Tipitaka, or the Three Baskets. Ano? So, meron tayong tatlong Pali Canon or the Tripitaka, Tipitaka, or the Three Baskets. Inulit-ulit ko. Ano? So, we have the Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Ano? So, ano kaya yung mga yan? So, unahin muna natin yung Vinaya Pitaka. Ang sabi dyan, it contains guidance on monastic life. Okay. So, itong Vinaya Pitaka na to, this basket contains the rules and regulations for monks and nuns. So, nakalagay na dyan yung mga rules, kaya nga guidance ang nakalagay. Rules and regulations. It outlines the code of conduct kung paano tayo yung gawi, disciplinary measures, and guidelines for monastic life. Think of it as a rule book or manual for Buddhist monastic living, covering topics such as ethical behavior, community life, and ceremonies. Ayan. So, rule book, kumbaga, nakalagay dyan. Kaya nga, guidance, nakalagay na madali namang explain. Okay. Nandun daw yung mga rules and regulation. Pero may naka-highlight dyan. It contains guidance on monastic life. Ano ba yung monastic life? When we say monastic life, it refers to the lifestyle of monks and nuns who have chosen to dedicate themselves fully to spiritual practice within a monastic community. Okay, yun yung monastic life. Kaya mo bang mabuhay ng isang monghe, ng isang nun, katulad ni Buddha? If you are living in monastic life, you have to give up all. Even your wealth, your status, your family. Kaya mong gawin yon? Okay, medyo mahirap, monastic life. Okay, so, hindi naman, though important or pinaka-factor ang monastic life to attain enlightenment in Buddhism, it doesn't mean na kaya mong gawin yon in just one breath. Isang hingahan lang. Kaya nga meron tayong Vinaya Pitaka. It's a guide, a rule, step-by-step process. Okay, kung paano tayo mamumuhay katulad ni Buddha. Okay, if you are a Buddhist, pero sorry, hindi ako Buddhist ha. Okay, next, we have the Sutta Pitaka, a collection of Buddha sayings and accounts of events in his life. Pag sinabi naman nating Sutta Pitaka, nakalagay naman dyan, sayings, the basket compromises, kaya nga basket ang tawag ko kasi three basket din sila, this basket comprise the discourses or teachings of the Buddha. It includes a vast collection of sermons, mga sermon ni Siddhartha, dialogues, and stories delivered by Buddha and his close disciples. These teachings cover a wide range of topics, including ethics, meditation, wisdom, and the nature of reality. Nature of reality. The Sutta Pitaka is like a library of wisdom teachings, offering guidance and insight into the path to enlightenment. Okay, nandyan yung key recipe para ma-reach natin ang enlightenment. Mga teachings ni Buddha. Okay, next. Number 3, the last one, the Abhidhamma Pitaka, a philosophical analysis of Buddha's teaching. So this basket contains the higher teachings or philosophical exposition of Buddhist doctrines. It discusses the deeper analysis and explanation of Buddha's teaching, exploring concepts such as mind, consciousness, casual causality, and the nature of existence. The Abhidhamma Pitaka is like a textbook of Buddhist philosophy and psychology, providing a systematic framework for understanding the nature of reality and workings of the mind. Okay, so mas mataas, mas mataas, a complex, a deeper explanation yung nakalagay dito sa Abhidhamma Pitaka. Okay. So, si Buddha din, okay, mga teaching ni Buddha yung nakalagay diyan, okay, philosophical analysis of the teaching of the Buddhas. Okay, mga explanation, mas maganda ito, direct explanation para mas magets mo talaga, maintindihan mo ang konsepto ng Buddhism or kung ano ba yung meron sa Buddhism. Ayan, ito yung the Four Noble Truths. Sino nga nakarealize nito? Si Siddhartha, after meditation. Nakita niya yung suffering, the origin, okay, and then the way, the path to end the suffering. Okay, so siya din ang nakahanap ng solusyon. Yan po yung dukkha, samudaya, niruda po yan, niruda. Okay, N-I po yan, N-I, sorry po for spelling, the maga. Okay, makikita naman natin yung real spelling mamaya. Okay, so first one, the dukkha or the truth of suffering. Ito yung, kumbaga, tunay na paghihirap, the truth of suffering. The first noble truth is the recognition of dukkha, often translated as the suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Dukkha refers to the inherent dissatisfaction and discomfort that is present in life, encompassing physical and mental pain, as well as the fleeting nature of pleasure and happiness. It acknowledges that suffering is an inevitable aspect of existence, arising from birth, aging, illness, death, separation from loved ones, and encountering what is unpleasant or undesirable. Okay, yung dukkha po natin, yan yung makikita natin kung ano ba yung mga uri ng paghihirap or type of suffering. Nakalagay naman dyan, birth. Birth pala, yung panganak ka pa lang is an example na of suffering. Ang babies ba nagsasuffer sila? Yes, ang dami din nilang nakaka-feel sila ng hunger and many more feelings. Ano pa? Kailangan nilang masatisfied para hindi sila umiyak. Ayan. Aging. Aging is an example of suffering. Balikan ko ulit yung birth. Suffering yan kasi ipinanganak ka, it means hindi ka pa nakakalaya sa samsara. Okay, which is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. At ibig sabihin sa Buddhism, the mere fact that you are living, you are alive and kicking, nagsasuffer ka. Ayan, so aging, example of suffering. Illness, death. Okay, yan yung mga pinaka-practical example of suffering. Okay, so for example, experiencing illness, loss of loved one, or feeling dissatisfied with one's circumstances are all manifestation of suffering. Hindi lang po yan yung type ng suffering na na-experience in reality. Madami pa. Yan yung mga truth of suffering lang, yung mga common. Next, we have the two, or the second one, the samudaya. The second noble truth identifies the origin. Ito naman, yung origin or cause of suffering, known as samudaya. The cause of suffering is explained as craving, or the tanha, which arises from our attachment, okay, desire and clinging to impermanent phenomena. Okay, craving manifests in three forms. Craving for sensual pleasures, craving for existence, the desire to be or not to be, and craving for non-existence, the desire to escape from unpleasant experiences. Okay, so yung ating origin pala or causes of suffering is yung cravings natin. Ang dami nating cravings, desire. Okay, bakit tayo nag-crave for something? And craving manifests in three forms, nabanggit siyan. Craving for sensual pleasures. Okay, ano kaya yon? Sensual pleasures. Paano natin siya i-explain? So, paano ba? When we say sensual pleasure, this craving is all about wanting to experience enjoyable sensation through the five senses. Nakalagay nga, sensual, like for example, your sense of sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. It's like always seeking things that may make you feel good, okay, in physical way, such as delicious food, beautiful sights, soothing music, or pleasant smells. For example, craving for a favorite dessert, longing for a relaxing massage, or desiring a vacation. Na pag hindi natin yan na-meet, hindi natin nakuha yung mga bagay na yan, yung mga cravings na yan, madidisappoint ka, right? Makaka-feel ka ng pain, disappointment. Kaya tayo ay nag-suffer. Bakit kasi tayo maghahangad ng mga bagay na hindi naman natin kaya or it's impossible to attain na hindi pa naman siguro possible. Pero sa state natin ngayon, siguro pag tinanong hindi pa muna ngayon, ano? Okay, so wag muna para maiwasan yung masaktan ka. Ano? Mag-suffer. And then second, craving to be or not to be. Ano kaya? Okay, to be or not to be. To be you or not to be. Minsan kasi, you really tend to compare yourself, ano. Siguro, wag na lang natin yung um, isipin, bakit kaya siya successful na? Ako hindi pa. Okay, bakit kaya siya napaka-talented? Ganon. Craving for the desire to be or not to be. Why not be proud or mabuhay ka ng kung ano yung meron ka? Kasi pag laging ganyan, nagsasuffer ka. Ano? And then, craving for non-existence, the desire to escape from unpleasant experiences or from reality. Actually, hindi naman tayo makaka-escape sa reality talaga. Sa problem, ano? If you have problem, let's say for example, ano ba? Ano mga ginagawa natin? Manonood tayo ng TV, mga ganyan. Pero hindi pa rin tayo nakakatakas dyan. Yung iba ang ginagawa lalong napasama, gumagamit ng droga, na umiinom, lalo lang napasama. Ang problema hinaharap, iniisipan ng solusyon. That's the proper thing to do. Even if it is wrong or nagkamali ka talaga, tanggapin mo yun. You have to be brave. Kasi the mere fact na tinatakasan natin yung isang bagay na mali, lalo lang tayong magkakamali at the end of the day. Okay. Next, Niruda. Ito yung spelling ha, Niruda. The truth of the end of suffering. Actually, madali lang naman siya. Ano? The third noble truth points to the cessation and ending of suffering known as Niruda. Liberation from suffering is possible through the cessation of craving and the attainment of nirvana, the state of ultimate peace, freedom, and liberation. Nirvana is the extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion, leading to the cessation of suffering and the realization of true happiness and contentment. Okay, dito sa Niruda, napakaano lang naman, napakadali. Okay, meditate. If you're meditating, you will attain the state of nirvana. Wherein pag sinabi nating nirvana, the state of ultimate peace. Peace of mind, inner peace, wala ka nang hinahangad na iba pa. You don't expect, assume, desire, or you don't, crave for something anymore. Kumbaga nandiyan na, nirvana is the extinguishing. Pinatay, tinapos yung mga na-feel mong greed, hatred, and delusion. Okay, yun lang naman eh. Ultimate peace ang pinakasusi para i-end ang suffering. Contentment. Ano? Next, Dhammaga, the truth of the path. Ito naman, nakita natin yung kung paano i-end through nirvana, yung suffering. Ito naman yung path, kung paano. Paano ba yung path? Okay, merong palang daan to end the suffering. So the fourth noble truth outlines the path leading to the cessation of suffering known as Dhammaga, or the Noble Eightfold Path. This path consists of 8 interconnected factors that guide practitioners towards liberation and enlightenment. The Noble Eightfold Path comprises right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Actually, dito sa Maga nakalagay dyan yung Eightfold Path. Wherein, if you will follow the Eightfold Path, ayun, yun na yung susi for liberation and enlightenment. Okay, just follow this, what do you call this? Para siyang rules na kailangan nating sundin. Kung paano mamuhay ng tama, mamuhay bilang maayos or role model na is Buddhist. Okay. Ito yung ating eightfold path. Ito yung ating dharma or the wheel of dharma. Kung ating babalikan kanina kasama sa mga auspicious symbols. When right view the truth to suffering, understanding. Kumbaga, in other reference nga ang tawag dyan, right understanding. Right intention, free from evil. Right speech, speech. Right action, for the right livelihood, pwede natin siyang sabing respect of life. Right effort, resist to evil. Right concentration, meditation. And right mindfulness for thoughts. Isa-isahin natin yan. For right view, this step involves understanding the Four Noble Truths. Understanding. Dapat aware ka about the reality or about the true or the truth about of suffering. Alam mo yung mga truth of suffering like aging, illness, yan yung ating mga common suffering na na-experience. Aware ka dapat doon. It involves recognizing the nature of suffering and the cause of suffering. Alam mo din dapat yung cause, cravings, and understanding the path to the cessation of suffering, the path. Itong atin nang binabasa or dinidiscuss the eightfold path. Example, an individual practicing right view might study a Buddhist text and teachings to gain a deeper understanding of the Four Noble Truths and how they relate to their own life experiences. Kumbaga, kung magkakaroon tayo ng right view para guided ka, you have to really read and understand the Buddhist text, especially the Tripitaka. Okay. Right view, pag atin pang binigyan ng isang sample, ang buhay, may mga problema tayo. How about, paano mo natin titingnan yun in a right way, yung mga problems na yun? Dapat ba maging, what do you call this, parang, sasabihin natin na, bakit ako lang yung binibigyan ng problema? Parang, ang dami kong problema, gusto ko ng, let's say, mamatay, mga ganyan. Hindi yun right view, If meron kang right view, you will take it as a positive, a positive situation na pwede mo siyang gawing motivation, a stepping stone, mga ganyan. Next, right intention. So this step involves cultivating good intentions and avoiding harmful thoughts and desires. It involves striving to develop a mind that is free from greed, anger, and delusion. Example, an individual practicing right intention, okay, might set an intention to be kind and compassionate, okay, towards others and work to overcome any negative thoughts or impulses they may experience. Okay, para mas maintindihan pa natin yung right intention na yan, kung ano ba yung tinutukoy dyan. Okay, pag sinabi natin right intention, example, okay, this is about having good intention. For instance, choosing to help someone in need out of genuine care rather than seeking personal gain. For example, tumulong ka sa tao, mga pulubi. Okay, hindi naman minsan kasi tamang pagtutulong tayo, lagi pa nating i-post or what ipaalam sa ibang tao, parang i-broadcast. Hindi yan tama. If you are genuine or sincere, wala ka dapat hidden agenda. Or kinaibigan mo lang yung isang tao kasi may makukuha ka. Hindi yan ganon, hindi tamang intensyon. Sunod, we have the right speech. Napaka self-explanatory naman. This step involves using speech that is truthful, kind, and helpful. It involves avoiding speech that is harmful or divisive. Example, an individual practicing right speech might strive to communicate honestly and kindly with others, avoiding gossip or hurtful comments. So, dito po sa ating right speech, okay, refraining from gossiping about others or spreading rumors. Ayan, mga chismosa, marites, na wala namang mga basehan yung pinag-chismisan minsan, ayun, nakakasakit na or nakaka-agrabyado ng ibang tao. And minsan din, natin yung ating, kontrolin yung ating bibig na, yes, maganda maging direct to the point. But in some cases, may mga salita or bagay na hindi na dapat natin sinasabi. Kasi may mga taong, what's possible, masaktan, Next, we have right action. This step involves acting in ways that are ethical and beneficial. It involves avoiding actions that cause harm to oneself or others. Example, an individual practicing right action might avoid actions such as stealing or harming others and instead focus on actions that benefit themselves and those around them. Okay, so dito sa right action, example could be refraining from stealing. Huwag kayo magnanakaw ha. Or cheating kahit sa mga examinations. Ano? And instead acting honesty, lagi nating i ilalagay yung ating sarili or dapat lagi tayong honest. Ano? With integrity. Kasi pag ikaw honest, mataas ang integridad mo. Okay? Pero pag ikaw ay cheater, bumababa yan. Ano? Next, right livelihood. This step involves earning a living in a way that is ethical and does not cause harm to others. Example, an individual practicing right livelihood might choose a career or occupation that aligns with their values and does not cause harm to others, such as working in a non-profit organization or in a field that promotes social justice. So dito sa right livelihood, wag po tayong kakain. Hindi naman totally hindi kakain. Wag ka tayong kakain na galing sa masama or sa mga nakaw. Ganyan. Mamuhay tayo ng tama. Kasi may mga taong lumalaban ng patas na maraming taong lumalaban ng patas at ikaw mandadaya ka, parang hindi naman maganda ano. Okay. Okay, so next we have the right effort. Okay, so ano naman dito? So this step involves making a consistent effort to cultivate positive qualities such as mindfulness, concentration, and compassion. Example, an individual practicing right effort might establish a regular meditation, practice, or engage in activities that promote mindfulness and self-awareness. Dito po sa right effort, dapat sa Buddhist or sa Buddhism, kung ikaw ay pinaka recipe ang meditation to reach enlightenment, hindi yung paano-ano ka lang, yung parang pasulpot-sulpot yung mag-meditate. Kumbaga sa Christian naman no, right effort, yung minsan ka lang nagsimba, hindi ka consistent. Dito sa right effort, mahalaga yung consistency. Okay, hindi pwedeng sa una lang magaling. Okay, next. Right mindfulness. So this step involves being aware of one's thoughts, feelings, and surroundings in the present moment. It involves cultivating a sense of awareness and presence in daily life. Example, an individual practicing right mindfulness might engage in mindfulness meditation or practice being fully present and aware during daily activities such as eating or walking. So dito naman is ang tinutukoy dito is, for example, a scenario could be practicing while eating, fully experience the taste, texture, and sensation without distractions. Kumbaga, pag tayo kumakain, kakain lang. Ano? Wala nang ibang what do you call this, extra moment na ginagawa. Kumbaga, yun ang kanila, right mindfulness. It's a sign din of respect. Aside from that, yung thoughts natin, paano? Yung thoughts natin, minsan tayo judgmental. No? Ano tayo? Huwag tayong masyadong judge sa ibang tao. Yung nakita mo lang na magkasama, yan, ganun na agad. Ano ang iisipin? Ay, ang thoughts, ingatan, huwag maging judger. Ayan, next, right concentration. This step involves developing a focused and concentrated mind through meditation and other practices. An individual practicing right concentration might practice deep breathing, exercises, or engage in meditation practices to help calm and focus their mind. So, yung mga lutang, pag-discussion natin face-to-face, concentrate. Ano? Right concentration. Okay, of course, para sa Buddhism, meet mo ito, you have to meditate. Proper meditation. Sa atin naman, in a normal scenario, of course, you have to eat properly, sleep properly. Iba nagpupuyat masyado, hindi kumakain sa tamang oras. Hindi talaga makakapag-focus. Ano? Okay, but in Buddhism, meditation is one of the recipe for right concentration. Ayan, so remember, there is no God in Buddhism. Okay, so bakit kaya siya naging religion? What do you think? Wala siyang God, pero bakit siya naging religion? Buddha is not a God. Hindi nila kinoconsider si Buddha as a God. Ano? Buddha is considered as a teacher, a role model in Buddhism. Pero bakit naging religion si Buddhism? Huh? Anyone? Ayan, sabihin na natin na wala palang sasagot dito. Okay, so may sacred text sila, right? Meron naman. May mga belief system sila, meron din. Mas ceremonies and ritual followers, meron. Okay, so hindi natin masasabi yung isang um, institution or parang samahan na religion kung walang Diyos na pinaniniwalaan. So, paano kaya natin matatabunan yung concept ng God? Ano yung concept nga ng God? It is considered as all-knowing, all-powerful, an extraordinary. Okay, kumbaga, So, dito, ang Buddhism kasi, kung naalala niyo nabanggit ko kanina, they tend to develop their spiritual growth. Okay, so yung spiritual growth, our soul, spirit, pwede na natin siyang ipangtabon dun sa konsepto ng God or extraordinary. Okay, kaya kino-considered natin as religion ang Buddhism. I hope na medyo na-gets yung aking explanation, malabo ata. So, binasa ko lang din yun. Ano? Next. So, Theravada. So, tandaan ha. Kanina, discuss natin yung Pali Canon, the Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. Pinaniniwalaan din niya ng Mahayana. Ngayon, unti-unti na tayong pumapasok mismo sa mismong Theravada. So, when we say Theravada, yung kanilang katuruan diyan is traditional. A traditional religion, life is a solitary individual journey or a monk. Kumbaga, if you want to attain enlightenment, liberation, you have to work on yourself. Wala kang ibang aasahan dito, ikaw lang be. Wala talaga. Conservative and strict approach. Kasi nga, ito'y aligned kay Buddha. Talagang lahat ng katuruan ni Buddha sinusunod sa Theravada. Meron lang distinction sa Mahayana. May mga inad sila. Okay, so dito, reaching nirvana is simply ceasing to be, ending of suffering. Focus on meditation and personal perfection. Nakafocus sila sa meditation and personal. Nakalagay, daming nabanggit. Kumbaga, doon sa una, balikan niya, solitary. Okay. And then personal. Talagang para ma-attain mo yung enlightenment, ikaw lang talaga, katulad ni Buddha. Okay. So, let's discuss the Theravada beliefs and practices, the three jewels, okay, the triple gem. Buddha, Theravada Buddhist, the founder of Buddhism, okay, one who discovered the path to liberation from suffering, si Siddhartha, kino-considered nilang triple gem. The Dharma, they take refuge in the Dharma, which is consists of the Eightfold Path. The Sangha, they take refuge in the Sangha, the community of monks and nuns who have dedicated their lives to the practice of propagation of the Dharma. Ito yung kinoconsider as triple gem in Theravada. Okay, beliefs nila yan. Or doctrines. Next, the Four Noble Truths, hindi ko na yan i-expound pa kasi na-discuss na natin kanina. Impermanence. Okay. So, all conditioned phenomena, including the self, are impermanent and subject to change. Understanding impermanence is essential for overcoming attachment and craving and overcoming suffering. Kung aware ka that all phenomena is considered impermanent, okay, or unsubjected to change. Like for example, loved ones. Ang loved ones natin, possible, the following years, wala na. 'Di ba? Or may mawala. We have to, kumbaga, let's face that. It's our reality and dapat laging handa tayo. Okay. Next, no, not self or anatta. There is no permanent and changing self or soul within individuals. The concept of self is considered to be an illusion, and clinging to a fixed identity leads to suffering. Not self or anatta. Ano kaya yan? May mga tao kasing masyadong attached sa sarili or masyadong pinahalagan yung mga physical nating mga hitsura, especially sa ating hitsura. Kumbaga, ang laki ng kanilang pagpapahalaga sa physical na katawan. Okay? So, pag cling ka ng cling sa iyong ganyan or you are clinging in that aspect, wala talaga. Hindi mo, kumbaga, hindi way to enlightenment. So, dapat natin kay ambiguity, kagandahan, subjected to change. Aging is an example of suffering. Okay, karma and rebirth. Naniniwala sila sa karma, good karma and bad karma. Your actions will reflect your reincarnation. Okay, actions have consequences shaping one's future experiences and determining the conditions of rebirth or the reincarnation in subsequent lives. The cycle of birth, death, and rebirth or the samsara continues until one's achieved liberation from this cycle of nirvana. So, yung ating cycle ng samsara continuous yan until such time na ma-attain mo na ang enlightenment. Nibbana or Nirvana. Nirvana is the ultimate goal of Theravada Buddhism, representing the state of liberation and cessation of suffering. Ito yung pinaka-recipe, to end the suffering. Nirvana, ultimate peace. Okay. Meditation and mindfulness. Meditation practices, particularly mindfulness, meditation, satipatthana, and insight meditation or the vipassana are integral to Theravada Buddhism. These practices are aimed at developing awareness, concentration, and insight into the nature of reality. Okay, so na-discuss na naman natin yan kanina kasama to sa Noble Eightfold Path. And last, okay, we have the issues. Okay, issue. Isa lang po na. Kasama po sa issue ng Theravada ang monastic life. Yung pamumuhay ng simple. Kasi, bakit kaya issue sa kanila yan? Siguro may mga Buddhist na lang. Ako hindi ko to, sure. Pero, may siguro mga taong hindi kaya nilang i-give up kung ano yung meron sila. Hindi nila kayang mabuhay in a monastic life. Kumbaga, yung parang mamumuhay ka bilang isang monghe, hindi ka attached sa mga material things, sa mga cravings, mga ganyan, 'di ba? Kasi ano bang nagpapasaya sa mga tao madalas? Pera, 'di ba? Friendship. Okay, so mga ganyan. So kung attached ka, you are clinging in this kind of things, mahirap talaga. Okay, na ma-attain yung monastic life na sinasabi. And that's all for our Theravada Buddhism. And just remember how to attain enlightenment in Theravada. You have to work on yourself. Ikaw lang po mag-isa. Okay? Naniniwala ba ang Theravada kay Buddha? Yes, of course. Malaki yung pagpapahalaga ng Theravada kay Siddhartha Gautama, kaya nga lahat ng katuruan ni Siddhartha sinusunod under Theravada. Naniniwala ba sila sa Eightfold Path? Yes. Sa Four Noble Truths? Yes. Okay, so yun po yung ating Theravada. And I hope that you learn something. Thank you sa pag-comment. Kung meron pa kayong gustong topic na pa-discuss, go. Sige, i-discuss natin yan. And if you want to ask the PowerPoint presentation, pwede niyo naman akong i-email. So, mag-aano na lang ako ng email dun sa description. Okay, thank you so much.